All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm sure there'll be other people joining in, but let's just get rolling. So hello, everyone, and thank you for coming. To ensure you're in the right meeting, today we'll be discussing the Fundraising Accelerator for Fabric for Nonprofits. If this is your first time hearing about Fabric and are looking to learn more, this is definitely your webinar. If you have implemented Fabric and want to hear how Goodwill Industries is using Fabric, this is also your webinar. So let's move to the agenda. And so to make good use of our time, we're going to get started. A quick look at the agenda has us starting off with introductions. We'll have a little bit of housekeeping items. We'll move directly into an overview of Fabric. Then Val will walk us through a demo of the Fabric for Fundraising Accelerator, and then real world insights from Goodwill. And then we'll move into Q&A. We will have a few offers at the end of the webinar just to ensure we keep you around. So we're not going to promo those quite yet. So speakers, by way of introduction, my name is Nicholas Burton. I am a client partner for our customer success team here at Valorem Apply. Been here close to 9 years and very much enjoy the work I do supporting our nonprofits. I will pass the baton to Val for her introduction.
Hi, I'm Val Goutre. I'm a data engineer at Valorem Reply. I've been here for about 3 years and I work on the data and AI team. And now I'll hand it over to Orr.
Hello, everyone. My name is Orr Dashevsky. I'm a Director of Data and Compliance at Goodwill Industry International, where I lead enterprise data strategy, governance, and analytical modernization across organizational data. And happy to join Nicholas and Val on this journey.
Awesome. Thanks, Orr. So a few housekeeping items. If I could ask that everyone keep their lines muted throughout the presentation. If you have questions, which I hope a few of you definitely will, please add them to the Q&A tab. We will have one of our technical resources available throughout the webinar, and we will also take the time during the Q&A section to answer questions. Please, please, please engage with your presenter. If something definitely resonates, let us know by posting your emojis found within Teams. Lastly, this session is being recorded. We will send the recording to all of you that have joined the webinar within probably the next few days. So no webinar is definitely complete without a shameless plug to explain a bit of who Valorem Reply is and our partnership with Microsoft. As a Microsoft Cloud Solutions partner, we work across 6 major workloads. Think of these as the building blocks of modern digital transformation. So first we have app innovation, where we build custom applications and modernize your legacy systems to create better experiences for customers and employees. Next is our infrastructure, which is all about designing the foundation. Secure, scalable Azure environments that power everything else you do. Data and AI is where we help you make sense of your data, whether that is building analytics platforms with Microsoft Fabric, implementing AI solutions and agents, or just getting better insights faster. Security means protecting everything, your data, your people, your operations. Such products as in identity management, compliance, and certainly with threat protection. Modern work focuses on how people work together. So you've got Microsoft 365, Teams, Copilot, and then collaboration tools that make hybrid work actually work. Business applications brings it all together with tools like Dynamics 365 and Power Platform to streamline operations and improve how you serve your customers. The key is that we address your challenges holistically. We're just not experts in one area. We definitely connect the dots across your entire Microsoft ecosystem. As a Fabric featured partner, we have direct access to Microsoft's latest innovations, funding opportunities, and technical resources to deliver value for your organization. We have offices throughout the world with over 16,000 experts worldwide. Our key purpose is to be agile and innovative to stay close to our customers, people, and build best-in-class technology solutions. In our work with Microsoft Elevate, formerly Tech for Social Impact, we've been very fortunate to work with some great organizations. A few are listed here on this slide, and we also have a commercial practice also with a few customers listed. So just for all of that, the shameless plug is over. So please present your emojis for Val Goutre and the reason you came, Microsoft Fabric. Val, take us away.
Thanks, Nicholas. I'm going to take control of the presentation. So first, I'm going to give a little overview of Microsoft Fabric just to help familiarize everyone with the product and the functionality. And then I will do a little bit of show and tell. There's also a little bit of show and tell kind of integrated because I know it can be more exciting to see the actual product. So Fabric, if you don't know, is an all-in-one unified data platform that covers everything from data engineering to data science, analytics, and business intelligence. It offers a comprehensive suite of services, including workloads for machine learning, data engineering, data integration, and AI all in one place. We'll demo some of those workloads later on. Fabric comes with a tenant-wide lakehouse known as OneLake. OneLake is a single unified logical data lake for the whole organization. OneLake comes automatically with every Microsoft Fabric tenant with no infrastructure to manage. OneLake is designed to be the single place for all your analytics data. So I'm actually going to share, it's called the OneLake Data Explorer. That slide is a screenshot, but I'm actually going to just show it to you on my computer because I think it's a little more meaningful. So you can see I've got my OneDrive up here, and we all kind of know and love OneDrive. In this Windows Explorer, I can also see my OneLake Data Explorer. This is really what helped me to visualize and understand OneLake and how it works and its hierarchical nature. So inside OneLake, the top level folders are the workspaces that my organization has defined inside of Fabric. So the fundraising workspace is where I've set up the demos for today. So I can click on that workspace folder. And inside of that folder, I can see the various objects that were created inside of that workspace. And then this one is a lake house. We'll talk a little bit more about lake houses. But lake houses will hold tables for structured data, files for unstructured data. And since I actually have CSV files, I could drill all the way in and see the CSV files. So that's kind of the OneLake. Let me go back over to my presentation. All right, so OneLake supports Fabric's multiple workloads and compute engines. All components of Fabric are able to access the data without having their own copies. We'll discuss some of those workloads today, but as an example, your Power BI report and your data agent would read from the same source of data and use the same security model. Just to touch on the security model, the Fabric architecture relies on the Microsoft Entra ID, previously known as the Azure Active Directory. The same security architecture is used to access your data in Fabric regardless of what is chosen for storage, ingestion, or workload from end to end. The security can be governed in workspaces using the Entra ID groups or individual Entra IDs. If your organization has more complex needs, the Fabric product has item-level security, row-level security, column-level security, as well as dynamic data masking, so your security can be as granular or as broad as your organization needs. So now I'm going to talk about data ingestion, which is how you get your data into Fabric. Fabric has multiple means of ingesting and integrating data to meet the needs of organization legacy systems and skill levels. Over 200 connectors are available to link, mirror, import data from any source system, including both cloud-based and on-prem. No matter where your data resides today, there's an avenue to port that data into Fabric. Shortcuts and mirroring are one option for some source systems. This could fully eliminate the need for ETL. Another option is data flows. Data flows are low-code, cloud-based ETL for transforming data using Power Query Online. And lastly, notebooks are code-based, highly customizable objects that can be used to transform data. All components of Fabric are able to access the data without having their own copies. So if you've chosen various means of ingesting the data, you may want to orchestrate them. You can choose any combination of data ingestion techniques in the slide we outlined previously. Pipelines are a Fabric tool used to orchestrate and sequence and schedule any ETL activities. The interface is similar to Azure Data Factory. Pipelines have customizable error handling through on-success and on-failure paths within the pipeline. Pipelines provide simple visuals for confirming success, failure, and runtimes. Pipelines are also fully customizable through parameters that allow for dynamic execution. So if you look at this slide, I've got two visuals on here that I wanted to highlight. The top slide, both of these are from the pipeline that comes with the Fabric for Nonprofits Accelerator. The top visual is some notebooks and child pipelines that are just orchestrated here to run in succession. You can see there's just little pictures that help indicate that. And then the bottom picture is the confirmation of the tasks running within the pipeline. It has the success indicator as well as the duration. So once your data is landed or linked in Fabric, it can be stored in a variety of formats. The most commonly used are lakehouses, warehouses, and event houses. Lakehouses are a very versatile option because they allow for structured and unstructured data. Lakehouses are the primary data store in Microsoft Fabric. They can be queried with Spark through a notebook, and they also have a SQL endpoint created automatically. Warehouses are designed for structured data, and they can be queried with SQL. And event houses are designed for real-time data, and they can be queried with KQL. So once your data is ingested, transformed, and curated in Fabric, you can begin using the workloads to gain business value from the data. So we'll start with the reporting workload using Power BI. The report that I'm about to share with you was built using the Nonprofit Fabric Workload Accelerator. So I'm going to pivot over here to use the sharing. So you've probably heard of the Power BI product before since it is over 10 years old, but this report comes with the accelerator for nonprofits. So I'll talk through the pages a little bit. The constituent general page just gives some overall information about the constituents, which is a combination of all the different donor types, individuals, households, foundations. I can see my top 1,000 constituents. As well as I can see this visual that has their geolocations, and I can click to toggle that by donation amount. I can use the donation date slicer if I just wanted to see donations from this past year, 2025. Additionally, I can click here and get this granular individual view. So I can click on any constituent name in my slicer. Over here, right now I have it filtered for Davinia Quinn because she is our top donor, so there's a little more to look at. I can see timelines of when those donations have come in from Davinia, as well as which channels were the most effective. I can hover over and get her email if I had a need to reach out to her. Then I'm going to move on to the campaign and channel attribution page. So this is just a view. It sits on the same model, but it tells the effectiveness of specific channels, and I could filter for a specific campaign. Then I could look at the donor segmentation page to have some visuals that help tell the story from more of a demographic perspective. If I wanted to look at a slicer based on age range or giving range, for instance. So that's what comes with the accelerator. I do want to show Copilot for Power BI and some of its functionality. So I'm going to click this button up here. Now I'm just going to ask it, summarize my 2025 donation data. So I'm going to give it that instruction. It's going to take, I don't know, somewhere between 30 and 40 seconds to come back because it's doing some analysis to give us that generative answer. If you can see here, they're grayed out right now because I have it running. It will create a new reporting page for me or suggest content for a new page. If your data is modeled really well, it can create some pretty valuable pages. I do like to enhance the pages that are created with Copilot myself a little bit after their creation, just to tell the story a little better. But I like how they have nice clean lines and everything is lined up and very visually appealing, so I don't have to spend time with those aesthetics. So if you look here, it put together a little summary for us that we could just drop into email if we had stakeholders that were interested in getting this information. It would probably take a human a little bit longer than that 30 to 40 seconds to get us that data. So now I'm going to pivot back over to my presentation briefly. And these slides I already went through when we looked at the report, but you'll get them when we send out the presentation so you can see what that looks like. And then I'm going to talk about Fabric data agents. So Fabric data agents are part of the data science workload. They're new, they are in public preview. Fabric data agents can use a lakehouse, warehouse, semantic model, or KQL database as a source. Once the data is in Fabric, a data agent can be created. Fabric data agents require a paid subscription to Fabric. They will not work with a trial. And they have a limit of 25 tables currently. The data agent that I'm going to share with you is sourcing the same data as the Power BI report that we just saw. This agent has the same security as the lakehouse behind it, and I can ask it questions in natural language. So bear with me. I'm just going to flip back over and share my data agent. Actually, I'm going to go to the fundraising workspace. So this is the workspace where I created the objects from the nonprofit accelerator. The data agent was not part of that, but since that data was modeled and named appropriately, I was able to lay that data agent on top of it. I connected it to a lakehouse. Because there were more than 25 tables in that lakehouse, I just picked a few that I thought I could query for just some quick donation metrics. Under the setup, I gave my agent some simple instructions. If I had multiple data sources, I could also write instructions at the data source level. Then I can come over here and ask it a question in natural language. So I'm going to ask it that question. It's doing some analysis. I can click this arrow and it should let me see the analysis that it's doing. Yeah, I can see the SQL that it ran when I click that arrow to get the answer. So this is the correct answer, but if it weren't the correct answer, I could come in here with the example queries and type a natural language question and then the correct SQL query that I wanted it to run to answer that question. Usually the better the data is named and the better it's modeled, the more reliable the results will be. And then when I'm ready to share my agent, I can click publish. So for this agent, I published it and I did opt to share it with my 365 Copilot. So we will come in here in 365, try and pull it up fresh so you can see. So now I am totally outside of Microsoft Fabric. So others could share and they wouldn't necessarily have to have all that Fabric knowledge. They could ask in plain language and you can ask simple questions. Who was my top donor in 2023? Now, since I'm completely outside of Fabric, it's not going to give me that option where I can see that analysis with the SQL. It's going to throw that question at the Fabric data agent and it will come back momentarily with the answer, and it cited its sources. So I'm going to go back to my presentation now. I have one more slide, I believe, to share with you. All right, hopefully everyone enjoyed the show and tell. As you can see, there's a lot to unlock in the data after a Fabric implementation. I've shared on the screen some questions and thought exercises for your organization to consider regarding your data unification journey, whether you choose to obtain help from Valorem or not. These questions can help you along your journey to ensure you've architected your solution appropriately. Now I'll turn it over to Orr to talk about a real use case from a real organization.
Thank you, Val. Let me start with a simple idea. Most nonprofits do not have data problem. We have a fragmentation problem. So I'm leading data and compliance at Goodwill Industry International, working across enterprise data for mission, finance, fundraising, marketing, and operations. And what I wanted to share today is not a story about a tool or the platform. Perhaps it's a story about what changed when Microsoft Fabric helps you to stop treating data as disconnected system and start managing as a shared governed enterprise asset. Because when data is fragmented, even smart teams make cautious decisions, and when data is unified, organizations move more with confidence. And why it's matter? Before we began this journey, our data lived in exactly where a system puts it. We had CRM system, finance system, donation system, program system and of course, with any organization, you're going to have tons of spreadsheets. And it was scattered around teams and different locations. So the tension show up and leadership ask what sounds like very reasonable questions. And the questions could be, how do external trends affect what we are seeing internally? How does engagement translate into outcomes? Are we reacting to change or anticipating it? We could answer the questions, but answer will be slow, but will be manual, and they're often followed by another question: which number is right? The moment that the conversation shift from decision to reconciling is when the moment is lost. That was a real problem that we needed to solve in Goodwill. So what actually changed when we implement Microsoft Fabric? What changed was not technical first, it was conceptual. We stopped organizing data around system and started organizing it around enterprise. Within Microsoft Fabric, we're building a unified foundation that connects operational system rather than replacing them. Data can now exist in one governed environment and still serve many different teams. This is not finished state. We very much still work in progress, but even partial unification has changed how conversation happens within an organization. Instead of asking where data is right, teams are starting asking what data is telling us. Governments also move from being gate as an end being part of the flow, security, classification, lineage, and access, and build as the data is created and used. So it's become part of the process. It's not afterthought. The shift matters, especially in nonprofit environment where we trust and responsibility are fundamental. So how do we make it real? This is where a partnership play a key role. Microsoft provides us with a platform, but platforms do not design themselves. Valorem did help us along the way to build our architecture, to make a right decision, to position us to actually be able to scale up in the future. So not everything at once, not everything perfect, but built to last. So why unification is matter? Let me make it a little bit more tangible. Before Fabric and market and industry data come from outside sources. Social and engagement data live in marketing tools. Operational data set in internal system. Each data set made sense on its own. None of them made sense together. If leadership wanted to understand how external signals, public sentiment, and internal operation were moving together, we need to manually stitch that story every single time. It's not sustainable, it's time-consuming. Today, we are bringing enterprise data under a single governance umbrella. Market data, engagement data, operational data can now be analyzed together. This is not just about better reporting. It's what makes AI realistic as well. As well, went through the data agent, if you cannot unify the data agents will not be as useful as you'll think. AI does not start with algorithm, it starts with data as unified, governed, and trusted. When the foundation exists, AI stops being a buzzword in an organization and become a responsible next step. So what changed day to day? The impact show up very human ways. We have fewer one-off requests, less spreadsheet glue work, clear ownership of the data across domains, but more important, leadership conversation change. Less time debating the numbers are correct, more time deciding what to do next. Data start feeling like something owned by IT, and they start feeling like something owned by the organization. And that's where real efficiency comes from, not speed, it's from clarity. As a lesson learned from us, to share with our peers, nonprofits, if you think about similar journey, here's what I would leave you with. Think enterprise, even if you start small. Unify before you optimize your data. Do not treat data governance as a friction. When done well, it removes it. And of course, choose partners who understand nonprofit reality and not just a technology aspect of it. And I'll pass it back to Nicholas.
Awesome. Thank you, Or. Thank you, Val. So getting started. We have 3 potential Fabric offerings that we wanted to put. So the waiting is over. We are now here. Now you get to see the offer. So please don't hang up afterwards. So anyway, so option 1 is definitely the Fabric assessment and planning. So that's the 2-week that you see in front of you. That answers 3 critical, or we try to go through and answer 3 critical questions. Are we ready for Fabric? What will it cost? How do we get there safely? We assess your current environment, configure Fabric properly from the start with security and governance, train your team, and definitely deliver a clear migration roadmap with future state architecture and cost projections. You get a plan that minimizes risks and accelerates time to value. Fabric in 30 days, basically we call it option 2, would be implementation and enablement includes the assessment and planning engagement, plus we build a real working solution with you, connecting to your data, building a lakehouse, transforming the data, creating models, and delivering dashboards. You get the roadmap and a functional proof of concept that demonstrates ROI. It's the difference between planning the journey and taking the first mile together. The third offering, which is the Fabric for Fundraising, is specifically for the nonprofits, which is perfect if you're running Salesforce or Dynamics 365 and want to accelerate time to value. Where the second offering builds a custom proof of concept with your data, this one leverages Microsoft's Nonprofit Accelerator, which Val just spoke about earlier. Pre-built templates specifically designed for fundraising, donor management, grant tracking, and program outcomes. We integrate your CRM, deploy these nonprofit-specific components, and customize them for your organization. You are not reinventing the wheel. You're building on proven nonprofit data patterns that already understand concepts like donors, campaigns, grants, and impact metrics. It is faster, purpose-built, and designed for the questions nonprofit leaders actually ask. So getting started, and you want to learn more, click the link in the upper left-hand corner, or you can scan the QR code to visit our website and get in touch with our team. We have plenty of time for Q&A, so I'm hoping you guys have utilized the top. If you want to come off mute, at the very top, we can do 2 things. You can come off mute, ask your questions. Please use the raise hand icon to ask your questions, and you can also use the Q&A window, which is at the very top as well. You can click on that and answer your questions there. Anyone want to be that first one? Or this webinar has been so clear there are no questions. That would be a first. No, really? There are 50 participants on this call. No one has a question. No one wants to get started. No one wants to have a quick conversation about it. Wow. Okay. Well, I'm not sure more to. Okay, great. Thank you. People posted in the Q&A. Oh, I cannot unmute. Daniel, can you help us out a little bit here? Let's see if I can do anything here to help out this situation. Let's go to people view. No, it should be open.
Hey, Nicholas, I can see some questions in the Q&A.
All right. Let me jump in. All right, perfect. Yeah, no, I just finally see them through. When I was looking there before, I didn't see any post. Okay. So Dana had a question. What if you use systems other than Dynamics or Salesforce?
Do you want me to take that?
So that's totally fine. Yeah, go ahead, Val. You answer. Yeah, you're good.
So the Nonprofit Data Solutions Accelerator is designed for Dynamics or Salesforce, but basically, if you wanted to use that, you could go to Fabric without being on those source systems. Like I said, there's over 200 connectors. If you wanted to use those same specific Power BI reports and agents that I demoed today, basically the data would just need to be mapped or engineered. So it would be a little more effort on that end, but still absolutely doable.
That answer your question, Dana? Since we have the mute
I don't think they
problem.
can, I don't think they can unmute. Somebody said they can't unmute.
And I'm not seeing anything that's forbidding them from being able to do that. I have a control to mute all, but it's not muted all. So I'm not sure why people cannot unmute. Beatrice, I'm not sure why you're not able to see the screen. We'll definitely send out the deck to you, so you'll have it available to you, and that link will be active if they want to learn more or gain access. Certainly my email addresses are there, as well as Val's. So we're more than happy to answer any questions that you guys might have about it from that standpoint. I only see a couple questions. You see any more? Jerry has go ahead.
I see someone that says Blackbaud CRM. So I would need to look through the list of connectors to find, I'm assuming that's a system to integrate. I don't remember all the 200 connectors off the top of my head. So that's something I would need to research and get back to that individual.
Jerry, I think you had a question around cost range. So it really depends, because if you go and just do a 2-week, from that standpoint, I'll back that up a little bit. So if you look at the Fabric assessment and planning, that's a 2-week exercise. So it's going to be really more, that pricing is going to be different than the Fabric in 30 days and the Fabric for fundraising. So they're all kind of a little bit different, and it really depends on what you want to do. So more than happy to kind of give you an idea of what that would look like depending on your situation. So reach out to me. I'm more than happy to be a little bit more specific and to get a few more details from you, and that'll help me kind of give you that range that you're looking for from that perspective. More than happy to help there. And then we'll definitely, as I said, we'll definitely share the slides so you guys have access to them, and we'll send them to you from your email addresses or you're signing up for the webinar here. So we'll get those out to you probably the next couple of days or so. And I'm trying to see if there's anything else that I can help try to release people in their ability to hear or to ask questions. Yeah, I don't see. It's a mute all button. I definitely do not want to hit that. So, all right, I'll check to see if there's any other questions. Talked about that. I don't see any other questions either in the chat, the meeting chat, and or through the QA. Oh, never mind. I did see one come in. What best practices would you recommend for data modeling and lakehouse warehouse design in Microsoft Fabric, especially given nonprofit constraints like limited resources and diverse data sources?
So I'd recommend a STAR schema, and you'd want to start by defining your business problem. It's difficult without knowing like the full source system to fully architect the solution, but typically a medallion architecture. So I'd start by bringing in just that raw data. If it's one of the connectors where I could just link it with a shortcut or mirror it, that would be my bronze layer. Then I would go to the silver layer where I cleanse the data a little bit and ensure that my dates are date fields, my numeric fields are numeric, et cetera, that type of thing. And then lastly, once you've got your facts defined for the business problems you want to solve, I would build out the gold layer with your STAR schema where you've got your facts and dimensions that ultimately you'd want to see in the reporting. I believe there was a question as far as lakehouse or warehouse. I came from a SQL Server world, so I personally prefer the warehouses. I kind of think that the product seems to be going the direction of a lakehouse. So it really just depends on the skill set of your team. If you guys are more SQL oriented, you may want to use a warehouse, but like I said, there's that SQL endpoint for lake houses. I know it's a long answer. Oh, and then as far as bringing your data in, If for whatever reason you have source data that can't be leveraged through a shortcut or mirroring, if you don't have like a broad range of technical skills, you probably want to use the data flows because they're pictures. They're very low code. So you can just kind of drop your data sources and plug them into a pipeline and sort your pictures the way you see fit. So I know that was a long answer, but hopefully that helped with your comfort level a little bit.
Please go ahead. Yeah, thanks for raising your hand. If you can come off mute, I'm trying to make that happen for you, but I tell you what, I'm going to try to mute all, and then I'm going to unmute. Yes, I can.
Okay, great. Thank you. So thank you
You
for
bet.
this great presentation. And the question I have is for, we went over the Fabric Data Factory. Are there any scaling challenges? Because we have Azure Data Factory. So is there some scale you recommend after a certain point when the data gets large, then we move to Azure? Or is Fabric being presented as like the new environment for all-in-one analytics platform?
I have not run into any on the clients that I am on. I know that we've got some of my colleagues on. Just curious, can you guys speak up if you have run into any scaling challenges so far?
Yeah, I can take this one, Val. So on the, I don't think you will kind of encounter significant performance differences between Azure Data Factory and Fabric Data Factory. There is limitations on Fabric side in terms of some of the functionality that Azure Data Factory offers is not offered in Microsoft Fabric. So it's, it depends on what functionality you're trying to implement for. That would kind of select one over the other. But also, you have to bear in mind that Fabric comes with kind of that inbuilt user access management. So it's a unified access model, and you don't have to worry about, hey, if I'm going to write from Azure Data Factory to ADLS, now I need to grant access to ADLS as well as the database that it's writing to and stuff. So I think it definitely depends on your use case rather than any performance impacts.
I think we've got the capability now to unmute everyone, or at least that seems to be working thus far. So if you guys are able to do so, that'd be great. If you want to ask a question, I would say. I'll check back the Q&A here. All right, so quick question. What security features does Fabric offer to protect donor information?
Nicholas, would you mind going back to that security architecture slide? There's a lot of detail in there. Let me see what slide number it is.
I've got it. Security architecture.
Yep.
Doesn't take us. There you go.
Okay, so this all resides within your tenant. So if you've got it in a lake house or a warehouse, it's still using that Entra ID security. If for whatever reason you're publishing out a report and you don't want you don't want specific data to be available, like maybe the donation amount, you could use dynamic data masking so that it could pick like a random amount to show on the screen as opposed to the donor amount, or you could mask like donor phone number if you don't want to share their specific phone number. So yeah, there are granular pieces available so that you could still have that functionality available, but share that donor report.
Awesome. And then can different departments like development, finance, programs use Fabric together seamlessly to update data as it is collected?
So you can create different workspaces so that, but they all would use shortcuts to the one lakehouse location, assuming that you all want to share a source so that you don't have two different sources of truth. But you could use different objects to update and view that data within your workspace to divide by the specific business function. I have a slide that I think kind of illustrates that as well. I don't remember that slide number. Oh, it's the right before I go into the demos, it's slide number 19, the finish line slide kind of shows that unified data foundation layer has got,
There you go.
yeah, those are examples of how you would have maybe your operations, finances, and sustainability would have different workspaces, but they're still sourcing that data from the same place.
So to answer the question, yes. Bottom line. All right, I'm going to jump over to chat. All right, so I think those people have dropped off. Any other questions before? Let me go to one more chat. I think it's just people. Awesome. So thank you for everyone saying thank you. Appreciate that. All right, so thank you again for joining us today. Really appreciate it. Please feel free to reach out to us with any questions you might have in reference to Fabric, or you might be able to get started using Fabric. Feel free to utilize a QR code for additional information about other live events and webinars that we have and that we do. If you are attending the Microsoft Global Nonprofit Leaders Summit in March in Bellevue, we'd love to meet you in person. I will be there. So definitely would look forward to working with you. So have a great day, everybody.